Now, to help us sort through all of the debate and the posturing, we have David Mark, Senior Editor of Politico, joining us now from Washington. Good morning, David.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Thank you. On Wednesday, as you know, President Obama took a different approach. Instead of meeting with the Democrats and Republicans together, he met with them separately. Why did he do that, and was anything accomplished with his new approach?
I think the president was trying to see what the bottom line is for Republicans, what they could really accept. We don't really know how much was accomplished other than the fact that they're supposed to meet again. That's a good sign that maybe progress is being made behind the scenes and they're sort of inching towards a deal.
Meet again together, separately, do we know?
We don't know precisely what the grouping is going to be like. It's really the House Republicans that are the key to this right now. It looks like the Senate is actually in a position to go ahead with this kind of grand bargain position that's been negotiated. It's the House Republicans who are more reluctant, recalcitrant. They're the ones who have to be won over.
The president now says he's open to a short-term deal, something he rejected before. The House Republicans passed the cut, cap, and balance plan, which the Senate takes up today. There's the Gang of Six proposal, then a backup plan that Senators Reid and McConnell are working on. From your vantage point, what's likely? What stands the best chance of actually happening?
I think the most likely course of action at this point is a short-term extension of the debt limit, maybe a month or so. During that time, negotiators can hammer out the differences, come to some final agreement on a larger package, which would include largely spending cuts and maybe a bit of tax increases, depending on how they're framed. So I think it would be short-term just to keep the negotiations going.
By the way, how big a deal is it for President Obama to back away from his insistence that he wasn't going to accept a short-term plan?
I actually don't think it's as big a deal as it may be made out to be. He's not saying that he only wants to go short term and not have any broader deal. He's saying it more as a technicality, something to get us through the next month or so while negotiators can put together a larger structured deal.
According to the latest CBS News poll, a majority of Americans want compromise. They believe both spending cuts and tax increases are the way to go. Now, if that's the case, why are certain lawmakers so reluctant?
A lot of these lawmakers, particularly the freshman Republicans in the House, were elected saying they were pledged to oppose taxes in all forms. They do not want to look like they're going back on what they said they were going to do on the campaign trail. It may also be partly a negotiating position. They don't want to give away their hand. They want to be in the best possible position to get the maximum amount of what they want when the time comes to actually strike a deal.
Of course, the clock is ticking. The August 2nd default deadline now less than a week and a half away. What will it take at this point for both parties to agree on a plan? I mean, is compromise even possible?
I think this deadline hanging over their head actually is having a pretty significant effect. Neither side really wants to be responsible for a default. They certainly don't want to be held responsible, viewed that way by the public. I don't think either side is really prepared to see the country default on its obligations. So I think they both have incentives to reach a deal, and pretty soon.
Now, who do you think stands the most to lose if an agreement is not reached? And on the flip side, who benefits the most if they do strike a deal?
I think congressional Republicans have the most to lose because President Obama has framed this fair or not, right or wrong, as him being the sort of moderate, the adult in the room, the person who's willing to come to a reasonable compromise. And he's sort of made both liberal Democrats and conservative Republicans look kind of extreme. And I think he's been very adroit and effective at framing things that way. So I think the president would have the most to win, if we want to call it a win, from the government defaulting on its obligations.
But if it does reach, if they do reach an agreement, who wins most?
If they do reach an agreement, I actually think both sides have something that they can claim victory for. President Obama, heading into the 2012 campaign, can say, hey, I was reasonable, I was willing to reach out to my adversaries and come to this compromise. Republicans, at the same time, could claim that they sort of won a moral victory because any final agreement is going to be focused mostly on spending cuts, not tax increases, which Democrats would like. So I think both sides can kind of come away from this. It's a bit of a political Rorschach test. People are going to see in it what they want to see in it.
Political Rorschach. There's a description for you. We'll keep watching. Thanks a lot. David Marks,
Thank you.
Senior Editor at Politico, thanks for sharing your insight with us.
Thank you.